In New York City, a Columbia University student who carried a mattress around campus all year to raise awareness for sexual assault brought it to graduation. Emma Sokowitz says she was raped on her first day of her sophomore year. The case against her alleged abuser was cleared in a disciplinary process, and he was allowed to stay in school. A school official, though, reportedly asked Sokowitz to leave her mattress in a room and then pick it up after the event. But she was ultimately allowed to bring it.
And that video of that woman, Emma Sokowitz, getting her diploma in her cap and gown with this giant mattress went viral over the last several days. And, well, it's something that people are discussing and debating, and we wanted to discuss it with Cathy Young, writer for Reason Magazine, Newsday, Real Clear Politics, Daily Beast, and also in the Washington Post. You have an article specifically about this. Thanks for joining us today, Cathy.
Thanks very much.
So what is it? I mean, you just heard the way this was described on MSNBC there. The Paul Nungesser is the person that she accused. They took it to a disciplinary hearing at Columbia University. He was exonerated, found not guilty. So she continues to do this, and he apparently is he thinking of legal action against her for harassment?
He's not taking legal action against her at this time, as far as I know. He is suing Columbia University. He's also suing Lee Bollinger, the president. And he's also suing a professor who approved, this act of carrying the mattress was actually Emma Sokowitz's senior art thesis at Columbia, which was approved by a professor. And the lawsuit actually points out that the way that the thesis was even formulated kind of suggests a harassing purpose, because her point in carrying it was that she was going to carry it until either she graduated, which, has happened now, or until her alleged rapist left Columbia University. So the point of this project was not just to raise awareness, was not just to make a point, or anything like that. It was actually specifically to get a fellow student who had been exonerated of the charge of sexual assault, and who, by the way, in this case also the exoneration was upheld on appeal. It was to get him to leave the university. So, he is.
So it was clearly directed.
He was being harassed.
Yeah, this was a stunt directed at him, trying to get him to leave the university or get expelled.
Right.
So, based on what you know about this story and other stories similar to it, because this is in the news so much, is this really the root of this, kind of a redefinition of what sexual assault is or what rape is?
Well, not this case specifically, actually, because one thing that I think is kind of interesting about this is that unlike some of these campus cases where, sometimes you will find, someone saying, well, I didn't really say no, but I was a little bit tipsy and, therefore I couldn't give valid consent. This is actually a case in which the claim that Emma Solkowitz made, if it is true, and honestly, I have no way of knowing, with absolute certainty which one of them is telling the truth. If this was a true claim, this would indeed be not just, a sexual assault, but a very violent rape.
Well,
she alleged that during an otherwise, consensual encounter, he suddenly became very violent. He slapped her face, supposedly, and just, very, very brutally raped her. What I think is interesting, and I've done a lot of research on this case, there are these messages that they exchanged on Facebook, which came to light, which were basically given to me by Paul Nungesser when I did a piece about this case in February. Literally, 24 hours after this alleged very violent rape, we have these exchanges on Facebook between Paul Nungesser and Emma Solkowitz, where she kind of banters with him about catching up and talking about how they spent their summer. She talks about coming to his party. She's talking about bringing girls to his party, and for several months after this, they have this very amicable relationship.
It would seem that must be what Mr. Nungesser brought to the university, and one of the reasons why the university must have found that this was basically consensual and that he was not guilty.
This is such strange case because, believe it or not, and I think that's actually ridiculous, Paul Nungesser was actually not allowed to present this evidence from the Facebook conversation to the panel that heard the case.
Well, then how did they come to the conclusion that he didn't do anything wrong?
Right. Apparently, it was discrepancies even without those Facebook conversations. Apparently, there were discrepancies in Emma Solkowitz's account. That was the reason that they gave for finding him not culpable on this charge. Apparently, he told, from their point of view, a more convincing story than she did. Now, he doesn't have any of the... this is kind of interesting. He was not allowed, when appealing his case, even he was not allowed to have either a transcript or there was a video of the hearing. He was not allowed to have any of this. And all of these proceedings, and I think that is, by the way, one of the reasons that universities really should not be handling these cases.
Were there ever any?
He was not allowed to have any of the records, but apparently there were some sort of implausibilities in the way that Emma Solkowitz, described this.
So
incident.
Did Miss
Solkowitz?
Did Miss Solkowitz ever raise criminal charges? Did she just file a complaint with Columbia University, or did she ever call the police about this alleged sexual assault?
Right. This was, I think, several months after he was exonerated. After she went public, after she told her story, she was, by the way, the subject of a front page article in the New York Times about a year ago. And at that point, she also decided that she was going to go to the police. She actually said in an interview to the Columbia Spectator, the student newspaper, she basically said that her reason for going to the police apparently was not even really so much to bring an actual case. It was to basically sort of make public Paul Nungesser's name.
To raise awareness and to shame him, yeah.
Right, because until then it was a university proceeding, and those are supposed to be confidential. So she was able to talk about the case. She wasn't able to give the name of the person that she was accusing of rape. Once she went to the police, then in fact Paul Nungesser's name was a matter of public record. She ended up really basically not cooperating with the police. She decided, and she really pretty much said so herself.
Got it. It actually sounds very similar to the Rolling Stone story from University of Virginia. I know there's a lot of more nuances, and you're very well read on it since you've written about it so much, Cathy Young, but we are out of time. But thanks for joining us and shedding a lot of light on this thing that a lot of people saw and a lot of people were questioning and wondering what it was all about. Cathy Young, Reason Magazine.